Hey guys, what's up, man? Welcome to another vlog. So listen, man, we've been showing you since lockdown has started what we've been doing in and around with the family. So obviously that first couple of weeks we couldn't go anywhere, we couldn't do much, so we're in and about around the house. You guys saw our cooking video, you saw what we were doing, and so yeah, man, we want to say big thank you to everybody who's been loving the videos, subscribing. Listen, the subscribers shot up by like a major number, so thank you guys so much for showing that love and showing that support. It really does mean so much to us. So listen, today we want to break it down a little bit, and we've been getting a lot of requests, and so obviously we've been vlogging for over 2 years now, on and off given,
So yeah, for a long while.
Yeah, we did stop for a long while, and then we said, yo, let's get back to vlogging and let's get back. But one of the major things, we obviously have a family channel, right? And so obviously with a family channel, what the whole thing is with that is that when we were vlogging back, like when we first started our vlogs, a lot of the things we spoke about was like relationship things, family things. And when we started doing that, a lot of people were reaching out to us in the comment section like, hey, what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about that? And even now that we got back to vlogging, a lot of people have been saying, yo, speak about, about some relationship things again. And so that's what today's vlog is all about. So sit back, relax, and watch this vlog. And so today we want to speak about 3 tips our parents gave us about dating and even potentially leading up to marriage. So
more so leading up to marriage, like what do you look for in your dating arena that will get you to marriage? Because you don't just want to date because you date and leads nowhere. So yeah, so it leads up to marriage.
Okay, so 3 tips my parents gave us. Who goes first? You go first. I go. So one major tip my father and I spoke about, and here this tip has a huge disclaimer on, because this tip can go one or two ways, right? And so one major tip my dad gave me, which I've come to find that is actually quite true, is that he said, look, when you begin to court or date, it's important to go to the home of where your girl is from, and just check the environment, check what's happening, check how she is, just her home life and how she is with her parents, and that
life.
Assuming that she has both her parents in her life or whatever the case might be, and just check that family life. It will give you a nice indicator of what she
her
would be like, how she reasons, how she is. And so I've come to find that tip, and again, disclaimer, no offense to people who might have come from a challenging background. And here's the thing with that though, I've met people who come from a challenging background and said, hey, listen, I don't want this for my family, a divorced family, and then they say to themselves, I'm not gonna have this for my kids. Also, I've met people who come from a challenging background and have replicated the whole situation and the whole scenario. So it's neither here nor there. But I say that to say I've come to find that to be true. A lot of the things that I've seen, even with Anka, happen in her life back at home, I've come to see happen with us. And I don't know if it's the same for her. How I am with my family or how I am around my parents. And in marriage now, we've been married for 6 years. Just this past, in fact, this month, last month we celebrated 6 years. And so we found that I don't know, you speak for yourself, to my home life, does that reflect in our marriage?
More so in the beginning of our marriage, yes, there was a lot of things, and there are still things that trickle through, but I guess the longer we've been married, the more we grow towards each other, and we've created a different culture for each other, because you're like, look, I don't like that was good when you came from your home, your culture, but we've changed that to what suits us as per our personalities and for our relationship. So it's changed over the years, but yes, very much in the beginning there was a lot of stuff.
But that doesn't necessarily mean negative. You're making it sound like
no.
We have to change things when we got married.
No. I think I wouldn't say it's negative. I just think because like his parents, like I would say his mother has a different temperament from mine, so we deal with things different. It's not negative, but it suits our personalities better, if I have to put it like that. But it's not a negative thing.
Okay, cool. So that was my tip. The girl you date, just check how she is in and around the house.
For me, my tip was see how the other person treats like in my case, it would have been the boyfriend. How does the boyfriend treat their mother? Because the likelihood that he would treat you in that way is very, very big. You find that a lot of people, they respect you in the beginning, very nice in the beginning, you just met and all of that, and then you come home and they're like, ah, shut up ma, or they're like, they speak rudely or abrasive, or they're like irritated. That very much becomes a reality when they get used to you. So for me, that was one of the things, like, how does he address his mother? And especially to him, he's very respectful. There's certain do's and you just don't say certain things, but there's still that loving approach. You're my son, so we can have certain conversations. I can raise my opinion, so that is still there. But I think that's very, very important, because that background becomes the foreground once you guys are used to each other and you guys get married.
So okay, cool. So the second tip that I perhaps can speak about. So my dad and I have very candid conversations about, obviously, before we got married and while I was dating. So obviously a big conversation that we had, not so much a tip, but it's more of a conversation that we had, was the issue of sex. So obviously my father spoke to me in great detail about it, and we were virgins when we got married, and part of the reason for that is because my parents advocated, like, hey, listen, one of the major tips that my dad gave me was that if you sleep with multiple girls, the chances are in your marriage you're going to be unsatisfied with your wife, or you're going to look for certain things in the person that you slept with, or you're going to compare, or there's a bunch of things that's going to happen. So it will be in your best interest if you just slept with or had sex with the person that you end up marrying, or first get married. First get married and then of course have
not intentionally
sex. So that was a big second tip for me, if I could use that as my second tip, that my father did encourage, like, look, first get married and then engage in the sexual act. And for me, I've come to find that's true as well, because in our marriage now is that I've had 2 serious relationships before we got married, and in those serious relationships we have found ourselves in the first year of our marriage comparing that, my ex would have done this and she wouldn't have done this, and blah blah blah. So we've had that conversation multiple times. Imagine if we've had a sexual relationship with our exes. That would have put a lot more strain on our marriage. That would have complicated the situation a lot more than what it needed to. And so for me, that was a valuable tip that in future videos we can dissect that deeper. But as just to throw it out there as a tip, if you guys have a question in the comment section, we can dissect that.
And it's not to give a negative picture or whatever. It's just that, as from my personal perspective as being the woman in this relationship, there's so much baggage you save yourself from dealing with, because the comparison aspect, you have to deal with certain things. So if this has already happened with you, it's not to say that it's a castaway, it's like, it's not the end of the world. It's just to say, deal with it. If it's dealt with, it's easier going forward. But if you haven't done it, it's just you don't need to deal with it. You save yourself all of that trouble. For me, my second tip was find someone of your own faith. The reason why, now, we don't do religion. Religion is not a thing for us, because religion for us is like a ritual where you go, but the faith aspect for us is having a relationship with God. And the reason for that is that you save yourself like a lot of trouble in terms of agreeing on certain things, especially when you are married and you get kids. You guys come to terms and agree on what is best for your kids on a faith-based, disciplining basis. There's just certain things that it was unsaid stuff that we just knew, like, okay, so we never had to have certain conversations, because this is how we grew up, this is what we understand, and we had a common agreement, we had common grounds to stand on. So I think that was a very, very valuable tip from my parents as well. Because for me it was, I knew I wanted to marry a pastor, but it's a beautiful notion to marry a pastor, but someone who was in ministry or was in church circles but understood family. So, and those were the important, as even for him, that's the first thing he wanted to know. Do you have a relationship with your family? And that was, that's why it just made it easier for us to just gel and click.
Can I jump on to my last tip?
Yep.
A big lifesaver, a marriage saving tip that my father did give me, and I think he spoke from a point of experience, was that, like, and it's basically to piggyback off what Anka just said, is obviously to try and be to get someone that's in your same faith or belief system, because that just eliminates a lot of, and this we speak from experience. We've had multiple situations, people showing up like, yo, I married this guy, he's a Muslim, but now we're fighting, we probably gonna end up divorcing, and he's this and this and this. It can work, but it adds an extra load of something that you didn't necessarily have to deal with, that you now have to deal with. So if you're keen on dealing with it, then by all means, I wouldn't. This is me, off the record. I wouldn't recommend it. But if you're already in that position and it's working for you, then kudos to you.
Yeah,
go for it.
From my personal experience, that when you guys are in the dating phase, you don't have to deal with certain things because you guys aren't married. You don't have to. You're still a free person. But as soon as you're married, the
dynamic changes. Dynamic changes. And just to carry on with to latch on to that third tip was the fact that I am so involved in ministry. And like I said, my dad probably gave me this tip based on his personal experience. Is that he got so involved in ministry that at some point he was so busy with like making sure that things are working in ministry that perhaps he felt like he might have neglected some of his family life. And so when he spoke to me, he said, listen, make sure you go home after work. Make sure you spend time with your family. Make sure you switch your laptop off at some point and just be at home. Make sure you put work aside. And that's not only for church. This could be for work. This could be for your own business. When you're at home with your family, put those things off and spend time with your kids and spend time with your wife. And that was a huge tip for me, because I found myself getting so involved with, I got to get this done. I got to be there. I got to make sure there's a meeting here, there's this, there's that. And I was so all over the place that eventually I ended up neglecting a lot of the things that I was supposed to be doing back at home. And so that tip was a lifesaver for me. So that would be my biggest tip so far, yeah.
The other tip that my parents gave me was that I needed my father's blessing, and I've seen multiple examples of people who just are rebellious in the sense that, no, but this is the man I love. I wanna get married, and they end up in a rocky path going forward. The reason for this is, like, your parents or like my parents have gone through certain things in life, and there's certain red flags that they see before the time that we don't, because love does make you blind. Love's like, no, but I want to be with this person, and
dating is different from
to
marriage, and because you're dating, you see each other. When you see each other, you butterflies, you're happy.
But you're not in one house.
Yeah, you go to the movies. You like in this nostalgic.
You always put your best foot forward when you're dating. But going back to that, getting their blessing and then also getting the spouse's parents' blessings, it makes your life so much easier, because
you don't have the in-law drama.
Yeah, if your parents give you the go ahead, there's a different type of blessing. They involve the other person. They get to know the other person. I don't know how to explain it to you. You just don't have to deal with certain things that you shouldn't have, like dangers. They see dangers that you don't necessarily see. And if they say like, no, it generally is to protect you from something.
Not because they're trying to be spiteful or whatever the case might be. And that, just to latch on to what you're saying, is a huge thing, especially if you're dating now and your parents are uncomfortable about something. If I were you, I would give that a second thought, and actually maybe have that conversation with my mother or my father and say, okay, mom, Let's talk.
Let's talk. Why?
Why don't you like, my boyfriend, or why don't you? And then hear your parents, hear what they say.
Having said that, it's important then for you to be open and objective about what is being said. And
don't just be like, no, but I love him, and get off defensive.
Because
like
you're not going to hear what is being said.
Yeah, now you're sitting in that conversation. You already made a decision.
Yeah.
So what your parents say at this point doesn't matter at the end of the day. You just, but why? And your parents might see, and again from experience, your parents might be seeing something like, hey, listen, I don't think that's a great idea.
Having said that, there are some relationships that do make it. But if you have to look at the ratio, if you have to look at statistics, it far outweighs the ones that actually make it.
The ones that make it.
Yeah,
the percentage is higher.
People who don't.
And again, it depends on why your parents, because sometimes your parents can be perhaps,
yes,
unnecessary or whatever.
In terms of no, but this is my child, and I want,
So reason and listen and hear if there's not a valid reason. If your mother says, listen, my baby, I'm seeing that sometimes he speaks loudly to you. Sometimes he gets aggressive. I've been seeing here at the house, he does this and he does that. It's red flags that your parents are seeing that they're giving you the heads up, like.
It's not just, but you're not spending time with me. Yeah, but, those are different reasons.
And it's not selfish reasons.
Yes.
Like your parents are not saying that because they, like, for example, like what you're saying, they want you to themselves or whatever. No, it's reasons that they validly see that, hey, I'm seeing some trends here and some traits that I don't think is going to work for you. So okay guys, so there you have it. And man, so we just decided to give you a little bit of our thoughts, tips and tricks our parents taught us. But listen, if you want to have the conversation, please drop a comment in the comment section. We would love to engage with you. Please also like this video. It's incredibly cool when you guys like and show engagement, and also helps our channel grow. And also share this video with somebody. And so let's continue the conversation. Thank you so much for watching. Also, don't forget to hit us up on our Instagram platforms, Hendricks_Anka, and of course Xavier_Hendricks. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys next video. Love you. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to drop a comment. Don't forget to like. And hit the bell, please. The bell makes a difference. Gives you a heads up for when we drop our next video. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.